This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Welcome in, Paul Catalina and Garrett Ross. Today, Steven Simcox has some sort of training thing he has to do.
It's overrated.
For his real job, and you don't pay me anyway. These are the things that I get. Mm-hmm. When people are, tell us, they can't be on the show.
Right. Yeah.
It's upsetting. It's upsetting that I need that kind of Skrilla, that kind of paper,
right,
that kind of green. To make sure. If I had to pay 4 rotating co-hosts, though, we'd have to make so much more money on this show than we're making right now. So that's up to you, people of YouTube. Keep sharing it around and tell people, hey, there's this really dumb sports show that I weirdly like, where he'll talk about college football and sports, but also he has total non sequiturs and segues into other things, like later in the show, for spite especially.
Not spite.
Not spite. No, for spite. Listen, I'm going to be a spiteful president. I'd like to pretend like I'm the president for everybody, but I may not be that mature, right? Mm-hmm. All my ideas are for everybody, but if you want to know how to really get under my skin, as a viewer or listener, most of the things you do don't bother me.
Right, yes.
92% don't bother me. But if I'm just goofing around on this show in particular, and somebody pops in and go, are we talking about sports? From day one in my sports career, that has just sent me into a rage.
Especially when it's your name up there.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Look, if you want the straight up and down sports talk and no goofing around, which we still goof around the other show.
Oh, yeah, we goof around.
But if you want that, that's what the other 3 hours are for. I created this as a therapeutic zone for me and everyone else.
Correct.
To kind of goof around and look at the hilarity of things. While we can be serious and talk about serious things, I will goof around a little bit.
You got to make things
in my nature.
Yes.
I'll tell you before anything, if you had a tombstone right now, and said, what would you put on it? I would put comedian after husband.
Right,
it's like husband, comedian, then friend. And I consider myself to be a pretty good friend. But comedian is a part of me.
It's in your DNA, yeah.
And I have not been able to really do that on most of the shows I've been on over my career. You'll see it a little bit, but that's why I want to do this show, is to do more of that stuff. And more of that stuff will be coming, I promise you, here in the coming years. So I have no idea. Garrett is my favorite person right now, according to Alan. Alan's mad because I called out the Astros Nation. So
what happened? What did you do?
I just said I was mad at them because they swept the Red Sox.
Well, I mean, you should be.
I mean, I'm more mad at the Red Sox for getting swept at home by the Astros, a roster at which right now is far below their World Series years. This is actually the one, though, they need to cheat. Really.
Get down to it now.
So this is the one you should be. You know what? We're going to let you bang on the trash can again. Yeah. They've been playing well lately, though. But based on those World Series runs that they've had, this one's the one that needs a little help.
That's fair.
But they've been playing well lately. So, but today, Garrett and I are going to talk about some transfer portal stuff. Max Olson, really interesting article that you'll hear us talking about it at length. Later on, but just some trends that are happening right now in the portal that Max wrote about. He'll be on the show with us at 4 tomorrow. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about in the next segment. There's Biletnikoff odds from FanDuel. It's FanDuel odds, but we ripped the graphic from On3. So thanks to both of them.
You do the work.
Yes, from the 365 Sports. 365 Sports, we don't have a graphics department.
It's coming, baby.
We'll Jack.
We'll figure that out.
Jack's the graphics
Jack
department.
Is the Jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when somebody sends me an email and says, hey, can you forward me on to your graphics department? And I went, oh, the department. Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, oh, we have John and Jack. And they're like, oh, okay, send that over to them. I'm like, no, it's the same guy.
Same cat.
Same dude. Same guy. He also has a million other things to do. So if I said, hey, I would like this graphic, he'd be like, okay.
Figure it out.
When do you know? He's like, when do you need it? And I'll say, when can you do it? And then there's where we find the middle ground. Mm-hmm. So I can push it to this day. So let's do that. But welcome to 365 Sports. Again, don't have a full-time graphics department.
It'll happen. Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day. Jack, believe me, the one who wants it the most would be Jack.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So he wants it the most. Garrett, what is your hat today?
San Jose Sharks.
San Jose Sharks. Okay. Just you, I mean, you buy hats that you like. You have no.
Man, dude, yeah, if a hat looks clean and I think it'll fit right, I will definitely rock it. I've always been fascinated by their mascot because it's so unique. And I know you have the same thing. Like, there's too many generic mascots.
Dude.
So when you get creative,
I was thinking about
dude,
this,
I'm all in.
I was thinking about this morning because we have a new client that's coming on for football season, and their spot, when I was just glancing over the copy, had Boko. Was it like Boko loves it, so should you? And like it wasn't in context with any of the other stuff, so I didn't know who Boko was.
Right.
Or Baco, I don't know. But it's the mascot at Texas State. So they had sent us the copy.
The Bobcat. Okay.
They had sent us the wrong, like, they just add a line for like certain, like if they did one at Baylor, they would, Bruiser or whatever.
Marigold,
so they just sent us the copy without that line edited out because this is for multiple things. So we're not picking a mascot. But that's what it was. And I was like, man, it doesn't make any sense to me. But then I thought, okay, I started thinking about the Bobcats. Okay, that's a cool, unique nickname. Sharks is a cool nickname. But, you go around, and I think part of it with high schools is that if you're going to buy equipment, it's easier to just tell somebody, we're the Panthers, we're the Vikings, we're the Vikings. There's a million Panthers, a million Tigers, a million
we were
Vikings.
the Tigers,
all that. So you can, it's kind of it's generic, but you can have it and have it done. Now, some of this goes back a long time, but even then, I think there's probably like templates where you would have to spend less if you were going to be something that's like the Wampus Cats, which is Itasca, which is one of my favorites.
See, I've never understood why like a college or a professional team didn't have a rhino as a mascot. Like that is an awesome mascot. Why would you not do that? And like when Lake Belton was being built, dude, I'm like, do the loggerheads, like the snapping turtles, like Lake Belton loggerheads, tie it all together. No, we'll go Broncos, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Just get creative, man.
Yeah, no, there's too many, like, let's do something interesting. Market yourself. As you know, and this is now going on a 20-year battle, I want Abbott to be the Red-Headed Strangers.
Yes.
The Abbott High School is a 6-man team. Willie Nelson is from there.
They play Oglesby first game of the year this year.
And no offense to Abbott, nothing outside of the person who cures all diseases being born at Abbott, nothing will be as big as one of the greatest musicians of all time.
Correct.
Not just country musicians, musicians. A transcendental artist. I mean, he transcends so many different things. Willie Nelson is from there and still goes back.
Yes.
It's not like he ran away. Like, he still has a place in Abbott. He goes and hangs out to feel like he's at home. Mostly he's in Austin, but he still goes up to Abbott, still hangs out with guys that he, grew up with, the ones that are still around. Willie's 90 now, so it's not, but I mean, he's did that for years where I'm going to go back to Abbott and hang out with my high school buddies. Fame did not make Willie too big.
Nope.
Abbott High School should be named their mascot. You know what? They should name the whole high school after Willie Nelson, in my opinion. just name the high school. I understand that there's marijuana, like, overlaps there. Get over yourself. Just name it the Red-Headed Strangers.
I'm all on board with that.
Years and years I've been fighting that battle. Years. And they did say one time if he would make a donation. So if I can get to Willie's people and say, like, hey, here's my idea. And then 7 hours later, after I sober up from all the weed, that'll be just around.
Well, I mean, we might need to make a new push, man, because the guard has changed. Young Crawford's holding it down there now, so we might need to go talk to him about it.
Oh,
his
he
son,
is?
Yeah, he took over.
Yeah. Okay.
Kyle's
there we go.
running it now. Terry retired.
Okay.
So
okay.
yeah.
I'll go. Terry, and look, Terry and I were cool.
He was cool.
So yeah, Terry and I were cool. Well, I'll make sure that happens. Like, I think I'll put it to the chat room. Some of you are from all over the country, different places. Mm-hmm. But if you could go online as a Willie Nelson fan and buy an Abbott Redheaded Strangers t-shirt, that part of the proceeds went to Abbott. Like, he didn't have to make a donation right now.
No.
He just needs to give them the rights and then allow the proceeds to go to Abbott High School.
You can do like the bandana with like the Panther logo on it and stuff.
Yeah, the bandana with the Panther logo, or the Redheaded Strangers, the Redheaded Stranger logo. But the Abbott, like the Abbott Redheaded Strangers, and you buy that shirt, it would be like, you know how many hipsters would buy it?
Oh yeah,
hipsters
you would sell out in Colorado and Portland.
Yeah, exactly. The city of Portland, Oregon.
Just walking around.
Would be walking around and people are like, oh, what is that? And they're like, oh, it's a Willie Nelson thing? Like, you don't get it.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm just seeing Portland.
That's what it would be. That's what it would be. So, please, like, I want to know, would you, if you're a Willie Nelson fan that buys.
I mean, I would wear one.
I mean, look, it might be all I wear for a month if they ever did it. All I wear. I would go to some of their games, and you know how adverse I am to going to high school football games that I don't get paid to go to.
Yep.
Here's the thing. I won't even take a cut if I have to. Now, I should get a cut, but I won't.
That's the sacrifice you're willing to make.
I'll give my cut to them just for the satisfaction of what I will say is a brilliant idea getting.
I mean, I think you've nailed it.
Again, the Davy Crockett Trophy, people these things are out here now. They're on YouTube. People can see them. You know, let's find out. Like, I think I can maybe, like, I will see Chris Del Conte somewhere. I know that.
Yes.
I will see Chris Del Conte somewhere. Even though the SEC and Big 12, I will see him. The next time I see him, I will corner him. And I mean corner. Elevator pitch.
Yep.
Davy Crockett Trophy.
I think the next time, I think we also need to get it into the ether in Austin. So, like, the next time we have somebody on from down there, like, let's just push the hell out of this, man.
Yeah. Let's get them all on board. Yep. A coalition of the willing.
Yes.
So to speak. So, yeah, that absolutely. And here's the thing. Let's say they do it, like, announce it without telling me. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm going to sue.
You should.
And here's the deal. Both those schools have so much money.
Yes.
And so does the SEC. So feel free to think this idea as your own. And even though I don't technically have the copyright on it yet, like, I'll be able to.
Wheels are in motion, though.
I'll be able to. Mm-hmm. The problem with getting a copyright on the Davy Crockett Trophy is seeing if there's any kind of copyrights on Davy Crockett in the first place.
Ooh, yeah. But that's when you pull together a legal team. I'm pretty sure. I know you got some lawyer friends.
Yeah.
Put them on it.
Just like, hey, go ahead and do this.
Get this assignment rolling.
Yeah. So, life goals right now. Get the Davy Crockett Trophy going.
Yep.
I'm doing something nice for the University of Texas.
Oh,
like, think about that.
That's almost blasphemous.
Think about how altruistic that is.
Yeah.
You want to talk about presidential? That shit's presidential.
You're one for the people.
Okay.
At all costs.
I'm putting aside my very strong personal biases. Yep. My ingrained by my nurturing biases to help them have a cool thing when they already have too many cool things.
They really do.
They have too many cool things. I'm helping them be a part of another cool thing. Tennessee, whatever. You know, like
You're just there.
I don't have any feelings outside of the 1998 national championship game, which Dustin Colquitt can go to hell for his.
I was about to say, how you feel about that?
Yeah. I mean, other than that one day, I have no. Right. We've had one bad day with each other. Of all the other days in my life, that's
nothing.
They've never done anything to annoy me. So one day, as opposed to the University of Texas, which
lives to annoy you.
It's like the opposite. They've like only had one day where they haven't annoyed me. They're like, oh, well, that's cool. Good for them.
Good for them.
Yeah. All the rest of the days of my life, it's the inverse. And here I am trying to do something cool. I think that that's presidential and altruistic.
I think it is as well.
So I absolutely I think that's what you want from a president, personally.
I would agree.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. I mean, look, and you're on the cabinet. Don't worry.
Okay.
We'll find a cabinet spot for you that's, up your alley. Or we'll make one.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Or, what would you rather have? Cabinet position or ambassadorship to a cool, exotic place that we don't really have?
Oh, probably ambassadorship. That could be intriguing.
Yeah. Emery, cabinet position or ambassadorship? Cabinet. Oh, he wants to be on the cabinet. Jack, cabinet or ambassadorship?
Oh, he's thinking hard.
And you get to pick.
He said cabinet.
He said cabinet? Okay.
So I'll be y'all's ambassador. Y'all hold the cabinet down.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can, and I'll let you pick the country too. Like, don't pick somewhere hard.
Nah, man.
Like, don't pick Saudi Arabia. Don't pick somewhere that has, like, I want you, Garrett, I think you and your family have earned for you to be the ambassador to, like, the Bahamas.
I could do the Bahamas. I don't want to sweat. I might go somewhere with a cooler climate, honestly.
Okay, like Norway.
Give me Norway or Switzerland. It's on.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I could do that. There we go.
There we go. See, that's the thing. Those are the favors that I'm going to do for people. Who's your ambassador in Norway? What does he know about the politics of Eastern Europe? Doesn't matter.
I can tell you about Vikings.
Doesn't matter. It's fine. We'll hire a guy like the second in command.
Yeah,
will know all that stuff, and then we'll just tell Garrett, be like, "Hey, tell them that this is going to be the things we're going to send over here," and then you're like, "Hey, you guys like a Bud Light?"
Sure.
Here's how much we're gonna send. I don't know, whatever. I'm trying to think of something that you guys like Cheetos. Here's how many we can send you.
Just all the flaming hot Cheetos you want, buddy.
Try something uniquely American. I understand that you guys don't eat so much processed sugar and trans fats here, but we have these things called Oreo cookies.
Have you tried
that will change your life?
Never mind the diabetes.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. You guys are all healthy looking, nice looking people, but
we're here to sabotage.
Yeah, we're here to sell. All right, so transfer portal numbers that Max Olson, who'll be on the show tomorrow. The thing that stuck out to me the most was there were so many defensive backs, and you think there's a lot of things, but the most in-demand positions are going to be quarterback, but there's really not that many of those.
No.
Based on everything else. Running backs a little bit more than quarterbacks. Wide receivers a lot more. Offensive line and defensive line are about on pace with the wide receivers. Linebackers, there's kind of a lot. But defensive backs, there were so many that transferred in the portal, or some that are remain unsigned, but so many people that played defensive back were in the portal. That was the position that was most available. Defensive line and quarterback were the ones this year, I think, that were the most highly bid on total. You know, when you've got guys like Walter Nolan and Nick Skirton and all these other guys in the portal. There's a lot of things he goes through in the article we'll talk about with tomorrow, but most scholarship transfers lost 2023 to 2024. UTEP 40.
Ooh.
39 is New Mexico State and San Diego State. 37 is Indiana and Louisiana Monroe. Colorado at 36. North Texas 35. 34 is Florida Atlantic and Georgia State. Marshall, Michigan State, and Old Dominion had 33. Cincinnati had 32. Alabama had 31. Charlotte, New Mexico also had 31. And Georgia Tech, Ohio, and Western Kentucky all had 30. Of the teams on this list, only Alabama had was a contender, and they're only on this list because of Saban.
Right.
But that number, that 31 people that had to leave, they've lost 10 or 12 before in an offseason in the portal, in the short time the portal's been here. But never really, it's never been that big of a deal. Losing 31 is where I think that's where their dip is going to happen, because even though they added back and they did these things, there's a talent composite drop that comes with Nick Saban leaving.
No, there really is. I mean, it helped getting a guy back like Caden Proctor, but the people you did bring back in aren't necessarily on that level. So this is one where you're really going to see Alabama's depth tested, which in a way that we haven't seen in quite some time. I think they're going to be fine, but I think you're going to see them take a step back this year because of that. And honestly, you're probably going to see them in more close matchups than we've seen in quite some time, just because you're having to balance that out. You don't have the necessary stars to step in, and you're going to have big plays happen on you. If Jalen Milroe can't necessarily lead you to a victory, like he's got some playmakers to work with, but he doesn't have like a litany of 5-star receivers out there like they've had in the past. So it is going to be interesting to see how Alabama transitions with this. Kalen DeBoer is going to get his people in there, but this is one where Bama's going to have to be patient and let everything unfold in a way that they are not used to, and just bounce back from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Things are going to be very different for them. Mm-hmm. And we had Brando on the show yesterday, and he was like, they're way too high. Way too high at 5th. And I agree with that.
They should be inside the top 10, but like you could have put them at like 8th or 9th and then let them earn it.
Yeah. His point, too, was like, let's do it. Let's look at the schedules of all these things.
Exactly.
And Alabama's got a tough schedule.
Yep.
So the schedules are changing. Like, there's no more. You're never going to have 5 years in a row of an easy schedule.
No, you don't have the division.
You might have 1 or 2 years in a row, or 2 out of 5, that are like, oh, well, this one worked out for you. But the way there's so many teams in these leagues now, and they have to rotate them around, and the schedule works so differently.
My thing is, like, I wonder how many teams we see get the benefit of the doubt, because it seems like they want certain – it's kind of – I don't know. But if you look at, like, Texas's schedule, it's like they wanted them. It almost is like they wanted them to set up. Georgia, Ohio State, some of these I'm intrigued by to see how that works going forward, because it's the luck of the draw. But does Georgia get the same caliber of schedule as Ole Miss? Or is it you start seeing these trends where some of these bigger name teams – get an easier road to the playoff than others? That's going to be something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, it really is. I think that that they think we have to adjust everything we think we know. Mm-hmm. And Dundee's on the chat yesterday was like ragging on FSU's defense because of the Georgia game, and I'm like,
that didn't even count.
We have to.
That wasn't even their defense.
Yeah, but like I wasn't even like the point to me on that wasn't that people are hung up on that game, which is stupid to be because it's different. That all modern bowl games that are not in the playoff are going to be some version of that.
Yes.
More than likely.
It's what happened to LSU a couple of years ago in the Texas Bowl against Kansas State. Like, Kansas State could have beat them match just straight up, but LSU didn't have a whole team. They didn't have a quarterback or nothing. You're going to see that more often.
Yeah, you're going to see that. You're going to see a ton of that. And so until they start doing things like running those as NIL games, like
you're going to have to
basketball does, like that's the thing that. Well, and part of it is just the bowl committee is going to have to be like, well, the money that we're making from this is going to take a hit because it's either that or your bowl game's going to go away because. Who's going to want to watch a game that's everybody's freshman?
Do you think we get to a point with some of these bowl games where they give like an option to say you'll get a gift package or something, or you can get NIL? Or do you think that we go away from them giving specific things or doing like the bowling and all that just to focus on having the money set up for NIL?
Yeah.
Or do you think there's just a way, there's enough money, it's just about budgeting and keeping everything?
It's just about look, there's not infinite amounts of money, obviously, but there's enough money for a bowl game to pay the people who are playing in it.
Yeah.
Bottom line, there's enough money. Or there's someone out there who will be willing to jump in and sponsor it. If you want to keep the money that you're used to making, then you have to go find another sponsor who'll spend more and just pay the players. But I think a lot of these companies, though, social media alone for 1 week of a big social media blitz, especially to get some of the guys associated with you, that'll be pretty big time. So So if you're getting like the social media blitz that you would do, I'll just use Pop-Tarts for example. That Pop-Tarts would get from having Avery Johnson tweeting about Pop-Tarts or, or Dylan Edwards or DJ Giddens or one of those guys who are popular, to have Chris Kleiman doing stuff. So like college football people see it and know it. If you're FedEx, which you have,
that's different.
Nearly unlimited, but FedEx sponsors bowl games. If you're FedEx and you're doing stuff where you bring some guys to a location, do a kind of a goofy thing where you send footballs around. I don't know. Like I'm not, but like those are the things that are going to have to change. And the schedule will now reflect those things going into the next year of like, okay, well, this was legitimate to look at it. But when you have 27 players either opt out or be out for injuries, and then a bunch of other guys getting their first ever start against Georgia, who for spite decided to all play in it, and because luckily their quarterback was coming back anyway. Otherwise, that would have been the same thing.
Yeah.
Kirby Smart did something. He got him convinced that, like, for spite, we're not going to be in this thing. Florida State's really mad. They think they're as good as us. They're going to opt out. You guys opt in. I don't know what happened. I was expecting Georgia to have just as many, and then it was like, oh, no, they
brought everybody out.
Florida State needed one less bus. And Georgia's like, no, basically just Ladd and Brock are not going to play.
Everyone
else is going to play. They're hurt anyway. So it's like, oh, great. I think we have to focus what we're doing when we look at projections and look at what things are and what the reality is, because bowl games don't mean as much. With the really portal as well. Like, you've got guys going. They had guys in the portal. They had you have guys in the portal. You have guys that opt out just because they're going to the pros. That. Yeah, they have to change. Portal dates have to change, and there's got to be a better way to do that, because if you have a guy who's a redshirt sophomore who would play in the game because the guy in front of him's leaving, but he's decided he wants to leave anyway. I don't like those. Some of those things just don't make any sense to me.
No, they don't.
They just don't make any sense to me. But that's how our modern landscape in college football works, and you just have to, adjust like what your. You can't think of it the old way, the old 10-game football schedule, 11-game football schedule, and then thinking, well, this is this way and this is not. I mean, you can't. One of the things that people used to say about the Big 12 North when Nebraska was kind of dominant, was still really good, was, well, Nebraska or Kansas State just get to play Iowa State and Kansas all the time,
right? Yeah,
and the Big 12 South, the only for sure gimme was Baylor in that same time. Like Baylor, Kansas, Iowa State, they were the bottom of the Big 12. The other 9 teams, not quite fluid, but Oklahoma, Texas, Nebraska, A&M was always, they're 8-4, 9-3 selves for the most part. And then Colorado was good, Missouri was good, so Oklahoma State was good, Tech was usually good, but you'd have that they only have to play the North teams, and only if they cycle through and they have to play Texas and A&M in the same year. Oh, well, that's a bummer. But if their North schedule wasn't very good and they got 2 of those 3, they could have all 3 of those teams on their schedule, because if you played Iowa State and Kansas every year anyway, and then had Baylor on your schedule, and then wound up with whoever was a dud out of A&M or Tech or Colorado, Oklahoma State had a dud year in that, you could have 5 wins
just chalked
up, and then your only tough one is going to be when you play.
I think we're going to see a lot more of that, though, now. I think that's going to be the new wave. It's kind of reverted back to what you're just displaying.
But then it's not going to be – but then you're not going to get in a 4-year cycle of that. You're going to be in a 1-year cycle of it. So, you'll have 1 year where, Ohio State's schedule this year couldn't have worked out better for them. Outside of Oregon and Michigan, and Penn State, they didn't get any kind of also you've got to go to USC. They don't have any Thursday night games. They don't have any of that. Them and Penn State and Michigan don't all of a sudden play on a Thursday night, because they're Saturdays are really important here. And if I was any of those other schools, it'd be Dude, you don't think it's important here?
Same thing.
Like, okay, no. I get it. Your Saturdays are more important than our Saturdays.
You just got more people showing up. That's
I'd be like, yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh, no, it's just really important here to be on Saturdays. Thursday, we can't do that. It's against the city ordinance.
Yeah. Shut it down. Curfew.
Yeah. Come on. But yeah, I think it'll go back and forth because look, Ohio State in a couple years is going to have a schedule that all of a sudden is like, oh crap. Florida gets the first like gauntlet schedule in the SEC. And Oklahoma's get like the next tier.
Like the light.
Above the like the Diet Coke version of that. Yep. But there's going to be somebody every couple years that you look at their schedule and go, oh.
Yep. That's my thing, though. It's like hopefully it's balanced out where it is brands and they don't start doing that to where they rig the system. That's what I'm nervous about.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, but it's still like you make the conferences as big as you have.
Yeah.
You cannot avoid it anymore.
Right.
You can't avoid the scheduling. Like you can't do the thing because your own constituents get mad that like, why are we even in this conference with this team if we're going to play them once every 14 years?
Yeah.
Like what's the point?
Georgia and A&M.
Yeah, Georgia and A&M is the best example of, they're in the conference. They didn't play. Georgia and A&M didn't actually play each other until, like, there was already on the schedule.
Yeah.
But until Texas and OU had decided to join the league.
Yeah, it was pretty recent.
Like, yes, pretty much like that had happened. Like they had expanded. Now we're going to see the first. So if you don't change the schedule, you're going to see that a whole lot more.
Yep.
And so the way the Big Ten's doing it, the way that everybody's doing it works. It's good. You're going to see people play everybody. And the other thing is that this is something about the schedule too. I think it's a nice little benefit. You're not going to see, because it's moving around so much, 15 years in a row of Ohio State versus Northwestern being 48-0.
Yeah.
Like where it's just like Ohio State and Northwestern. Northwestern hasn't won this game since 1931.
Yeah.
I
think also too,
whatever it is, you're not going to see that. Like it's been played every year since 1960.
Yeah.
And, Northwestern's won 2. And so you're not going to see those like long streaks of where it's a gimme.
Yeah.
Because you won't play them. You won't play them for a couple years, maybe 3, and then you'll get back in. You'll play them for 3. So then those streaks, even though they're broken up by a little bit, it's not that
they don't look as daunting. Yeah.
This is a terrible game for this fan base. Because they know what's going to happen. They're not even showing up at the game. It's essentially a home game for, like, if you're Northwestern, you're really bad, and Ohio State. Well, I guess they play Ohio State at Wrigley Field this year, but but which is really cool. But they're gonna roll into the stadium and even though it's your home stadium, it's not gonna feel like it, which it might not anyway. Year to year, because I'm sure there's a ton of Ohio State alums in Chicago.
They're definitely going to fill that
up.
So,
they're going to fill that up. But I know how it was when people would come
That's what
here.
I'm thinking.
Like,
when people would come Nebraska, to rolling down here.
Yeah, Floyd Casey, like to Texas A&M, and Nebraska.
Good
When
God.
those 3 fan bases would come in here, it was, they would have, honestly, if Baylor people would have been like, look, we'll sell you our tickets, they would have bought them up too. If there wasn't that small,
a lot of people were.
If there wasn't that small section of people that are like, no, I'm not selling you my tickets. I don't care that you're going to win this game. I'm going to be here. And that was a small group of people.
Very small.
But had those people all capitulated like everybody else, it would have been like, 4 guys like Scotty B, who's just a super fan, like cheering and been like, did I fall through the space-time continuum here? Am I in Lincoln, Nebraska?
It felt like it a lot of
the
times.
Like everything around here looks like Waco, except inside here right now. Are we their scrimmage? You don't want to have to feel that. When we come back, some interesting odds on the Biletnikoff from FanDuel. This is 365 Sports.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Welcome back, 365 Sports. Sorry, my speaker's all the way over there today.
I know.
And it's turned down because Jack was using it and didn't want to go deaf.
I respect that, too.
Last segment, we talked about the Biletnikoff odds put out by FanDuel, and it's about what you would expect, I think. There are some names here. There are 2 Oregon Ducks on this list and 2 Ohio State Buckeyes. Luther Burden, plus 300, he's the favorite, as he should be. Evan Stewart, plus 650, a little surprised about that because to this point, we've not seen him break out, but, I mean, I've even said, watch out for him at Oregon.
Yeah.
They're not going to be as stupid as Jimbo was, not figuring out a way to build some of your offense around that talent. And then Ted McMillan, plus 850. Tez Johnson, who I think may have more yards this year than Evan Stewart.
He could.
I think if I was going to do Oregon receivers, I'd flip those 2. Because
you think people would be more focused on Evan and just try to shut him down and open up things for Tez?
No, I just think Tez is like more experienced, right? And so when it comes to Dylan Gabriel, I just think that's where he's going to go. Xavier Restrepo at the U. This guy is super good. Super good. Somebody asked him about it in the chat room earlier. He is inside, outside. He can do a lot of things. He's going to score a lot of touchdowns, I think. I think he's, those like slant routes, those like red zone. He's not a big guy, but he's someone who can get first downs in that. I think that I would not be surprised if he's a finalist for the award just based on the amount of catches he's going to have.
That's what I was going to say. Like, looking at him, how much of that goes into having Cam Ward slinging the rock to you? Because if that wasn't the case, you still had Van Dyke there. I don't think he would be in the mix.
Look, he might be better than he was last year, but he was not a bad player. It's not like he was raw or anything. He was one of their best players last year. He just didn't have anybody. But
correct.
I think sheer number of receptions for him is going to put him in the conversation. Okay. He's going to catch a lot. Like, he's going to be an 8-9 reception a game type guy most days because they're going to look for him on first downs. And, the other guys they have, Sammy Brown and Jacoby George, are more like legit stretch the field guys, and they'll both have probably pretty good years. But when it comes to the functionality of the offense and getting first downs, that's going to be Restrepo at Miami. So, yeah. And if he's does not have 100 catches in 12 games this year.
Cristobal gone?
I mean, he's not in trouble, but Mario Cristobal has to have one of those meetings with himself.
Yes.
Like where he just sits in a room.
Do some pondering.
What am I doing?
Right.
What am I doing? What am I doing? Like, we have this guy, because Xavier Restrepo is one of those guys I personally project out to go to the NFL. Like, he's going to be next year's Lad McConkey.
Oh, okay.
Wherever he goes, the people, or like Puka Nacua.
Yeah.
Like, where he goes someplace and people are like, he already can do these things.
Under the radar, yeah.
Oh, he's okay. All right. Well, it's not, or they'll be excited about it, but they'll think, well, we'll bring him along slowly, and then he's going to be there, with 5 catches in his first game,
right,
and a touchdown, and people go, oh, okay, that's the kind of receiver he is. And then lower on the list, Emeka Ibuka and Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State. I'd maybe put Ibuka a little bit higher. Jeremiah Smith is a true freshman, so his odds being plus 1,600, even as highly touted he is it's not surprising to me. He's about in the right spot. I would maybe put Ibuka's odds a little higher.
Yeah, I'm looking at this and thinking, like, I could see definitely putting him – man, you might even be able to flip him – oh, gosh, I don't know. I would put him up in between – maybe you could flip him with Teteroa and McMillan just because – oh, that's hard to say, though.
Well, I would put him in the same spot. Like,
yeah, they're
in the
about
same
the same.
Like,
I like what Teteroa – I think Teteroa's combination with Noah Fafita throwing in the rock definitely is going to help. And that's probably Will Howard. We don't know truly what he's going to look like inside of this offense. And But Ibuka's going to get his.
Yeah.
It's just weird to see him that low, honestly.
Yeah. Deion Burks.
He's hurt, didn't he?
No, he's not the one who's hurt.
Okay.
That's the other guy.
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
Deion Burks, going to have a good season. Sorry, Purdue fans. He's now in Oklahoma. He's going to have a really good season. Jackson Arnold, like, that was the, hey, you're a starter now, and here's, like, you know, the sponsor's going to give you a Porsche or a Land Rover or something, but we're going to give you Deion Burks. Like, this is a gift from me, Brent Venables, to you, is getting Deion Burks.
They desperately, it's weird because Oklahoma hasn't had, like, that dude. Like, Drake Stoops was good, but he typically would have been, like, your third or fourth caliber receiver if Oklahoma had typically what they have there. You had Theo Weiss that left, obviously. Some other players as well. It's just kind of weird not seeing Oklahoma have. So hopefully Burks can get back there and give them that number one threat that they're known for having.
Yeah, I know. I think he's gonna have a ton of opportunities there. And then the last two, I want. There's some, like, I try to think of names I would throw in here. Other than that, like Isaiah Bond, maybe a little bit lower. I think he can really break out. I think Matthew Golden at Texas might have a really good year if he's healthy.
This might be bias on my part, and you come at me if you want.
Kyron
Lacy?
Kyron Lacy, yeah.
Like, come on.
Kyron Lacy, C.J. Daniels, like
one of them.
Yeah. If one of them's going to be in that mix. Trying to just think of other guys around, but the last two guys I do want to pay special note to, which are Kevin Concepcion, KC at NC State. Grayson McCall is going to feed this beast, so he's going to be a big-time player this year. And I wonder if they don't get Grayson McCall, if KC might have gone in the transfer portal, because if they don't get Grayson McCall, they're still kind of stuck in the middle at quarterback, where it wouldn't have been a bad quarterback, but it wouldn't have been a guy who can help you get, like, those numbers you need. I'll equate Grayson McCall's skill to, like, Clayton Tune, who was at Houston. He was a really good and he's an NFL quarterback right now, but he was really good. Like, he was a really, really good college quarterback. And then Tank Dell got noticed because Clayton Tune knew how to find him. Now, look, not to say that the other quarterbacks weren't trying to look for KC last year with NC State, but I think that he's one that I bet you would have not taken as much, like, oh, why didn't you go to Georgia? You know, like one of those kind of things where all of a sudden then if he was at Georgia, honestly, if he was at any place other than NC State, which is, you know, an afterthought to a lot of people, and the fact he's on here shows that they're really looking at this. Yeah. But if he was at any place other than NC State, if he was at Clemson, if he was at North Carolina instead of NC State, even though NC State probably has a better quarterback, he'd be higher up on this list. Yep. That's the thing.
It's like recruiting. Like, you don't have the right logo, so you're not going to be valued the same. It's one of those things.
And then Trey Harris from Ole Miss. I'll also call your attention to the other guy on the other side, Juice Wells, who came in from South Carolina.
Pretty good.
That's that receiving core is now Trey Harris, Juice Wells, Deion Smith, the number one JUCO prospect in the country. And, oh boy, that is why people are going to wonder about, like, because nobody talks about, they talk about Jackson Dart. They talk about what's going on in defense. They've not talked enough about Trey Harris, Juice Wells, Deion Smith. Those three are going to be lethal targets. Plus, they've got the tight end that's so damn good.
I keep
He's got a long name.
Yeah.
It's a cool name.
Yeah.
It's a cool name. I can't forget it. I'm sorry. Cool name, tight end guy. Prescorn.
Prescorn, yes.
Caden Prescorn. Thank you, Emery. Caden Prescorn. Yeah. No, he had the huge bowl game for them. Yeah. So they're going to be fun to watch. They're going to be super fun to watch. When we come back, I announced the next step of my presidential platform. Come at me, Donald and Kamala. Are you talking about these issues? You're not, but I am. The people's president, that's me. This is 365 Sports.
365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Welcome back to the Triple Option. I'm Paul Catalina alongside Garrett Ross, and with our last 15 minutes of the show today, just gonna run through some of the presidential platform bits, like the parts of it that we're doing. So remember, bidets on every toilet and Buc-ee's bathroom cleaning standards.
Yes.
Chip bags that will protect chips and will have tensile straight, like dip meters on. Yes. Is this a chip you can put in a dip? Is this a chip that you should? Yes. All those different things. Is this a salsa chip? Is it a queso chip? Is it a bean dip chip?
Yes.
Is it a guac chip? Like, can these things help it? We'll have a chart. Underneath the nutritional information, there'll be a chart on every chip container. We're not going to call them bags. We'll call them containers. Because we need containers for chips. Also, all microwaves will have a standard
universal
operating uniform thing. So the one at your office, the one at your house, the one at your in-laws, it all works the same. All of them have the same. And if they want to have special features, that's hidden under the special features button, or maybe build an app for it. That's what everybody does now. And also, no more coach on planes. Everything is first class.
Yep.
Price is lowered. TSA fixed. And Uber for planes.
Yes. And no middle seats, right?
Yep. Uber for planes that normal folks can use. Not just, Hollywood stars and rock stars, where it's like, we need a jet to go to Cabo. No. We're like,
it's for the common folk.
Look, the four of us need to go to Denver. We can just say, hey, let's pay a little extra and go comfortably on our schedule to Denver.
Yep.
And hop in the plane and go. That's what's on the presidential platform. Now, I know a lot of that stuff sounds ridiculous. Today, I'm going to get into a problem that is actually real. Okay. But I think if I hammer it home enough, people would back me up. No more spam or robocalls.
Oh, I'm all for this.
No more spam or robocalls, and no one is allowed to sell your information. Data brokering, information brokering is flat out illegal, and it should be, and it should have been from the jump, because the minute we found out that people were doing this and we didn't know it, it should have been stopped. But instead, it's like this whole gigantic industry that is paying politicians to be like, well, it's not that big a deal. No. And you're like, no, I should not go online to buy a chair, and then the database company that runs the furniture company's server take my information and then sell it to everybody who sells chairs or anybody who wants to buy it. I should not get anything unsolicited in my mailbox. I'm coming for you, junk mail. Stop killing trees. Yes. I should not get anything unsolicited in my email, on my phone, at my home. That's the
worst. When you say something and it comes up on your phone, stop.
None of that stuff. That stuff needs to go away. And I will tell you, if I was actually doing this and running for president, I would say it at every speech. At every speech and every debate, like, hey, spam calls? F them. We're getting rid of them. I'll do whatever I can. Robocalls, done. The only legal robocalls will be come to your doctor's appointment or your pills are ready. Yeah. That's it. That's the only reason I need one is, hey, your pills are ready, or don't forget you have a dentist appointment at 9 o'clock on Thursday. Those are the only ones I need. I don't need any other, like, hey, did you know that DirecTV gets 50% off? No, I don't need that.
What's worse is now I've noticed when you said DirecTV, I think it's like there's some other cable companies or stuff that are still doing the door-to-door. Like, don't come to my front door.
Yeah, don't come.
Miss me with that.
Don't come
to my front door.
Yeah, no, I have a sign that my some friends of mine got me. Amanda hates it because it looks tacky and it's faded now. But I had to have it because I live less than a mile away from the Jehovah's Witness temple.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And so every Saturday or Sunday morning at 8 o'clock, someone would ring my, doorbell, and they would, I would get up and, the initial thing you hear when somebody rings your doorbell at 8 o'clock in the morning is, this is a family member or a friend who needs me right now.
Yeah, right. Like an emergency situation.
I didn't answer the phone. I was sleeping hard. Like, where are you? I need this. Or somebody I previously invited over and fell asleep and didn't get up.
Yeah.
Like, that's because your brain, when you're first getting up, especially when you're doing high school football games until midnight or later,
yes,
8 o'clock in the morning is not when it's
not a good time.
Not a good time. And especially 8 o'clock in the morning in a day that maybe I don't have to do a pregame show until 3 o'clock.
Get you a little sleep in.
Give me a little sleep in, before I do anything. That's just me being a selfish person. But ringing my doorbell onto that should be I should be able to. You should at least get a ticket for that.
Yeah.
At least a ticket for it. It's the worst way. And I'm not dogging a religion here. I'm just saying the worst way to get me to change religions is coming to my house uninvited. In fact, it's a terrible way for you to give me something I might even want.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I made all these cookies for you. Thanks, but you could have called.
Yeah, and also dude, are they poison? Do I know you like
but
that?
So if honestly, if Emery got into baking and made brownies for me and just popped over to the house and gave me brownies, I'd be like, well, thanks for the brownies, but a heads up would have been nice.
Give me a call or something, bro.
All you have to do, I'm not mad that you're bringing me brownies, and I'm not mad that you're at my house. I'm mad that we couldn't have planned this out better.
Don't catch me off guard.
Catch me off guard.
Catch me off guard, man.
Yeah. And look, I say this. My father was a person who was a pop-in guy. Now, you'd be mad at him for all of 7 seconds before something fun happened, but he would come and knock on my door and be like, I was driving by, I forgot my oil changed, and I saw that you were here. You want to go to Burger King? I'm like, why do I want to go to Burger King? He's like, I want some Burger King. All right, let's go to Burger King. I saw a commercial. I want to try the new the BK broiler. All right, what the hell? Let's go.
Right.
That was my life. But again, he wasn't going hey, would you like to make a major life decision? And you seem lost here asleep at 7:42 a.m. on a Saturday. No.
What is wrong with you?
I know I'm not dressed properly. I'm not wearing my nice polo and my church khakis, but no, please don't. But the sign says, no solicitors. We're too broke to buy anything. We've already found Jesus. Unless you've got giving away free beer, please go away. Mm-hmm. People love it. My wife, who's bougie, does not
so much.
But it's drilled into the wall. I'm not taking it out.
That's how it's still there, Paul.
But here's the thing. They don't come by anymore. And when they do, they'll walk by, they'll see the sign, and they'll just keep walking.
Oh, that's glorious.
It's better than an episode of Game of Thrones to me. I wish they did it all day long. But we should not, your information and spam, none of that should be for sale.
No, it shouldn't.
None of that should be for sale.
It's...
a robocall, and the other thing is now they have these things. So Apple and, all the phone makers, Motorola, everybody, Google, whoever makes phones, all of them are having to build software and hardware to help you filter it out.
Yeah.
When we could just make it illegal and that wouldn't be necessary.
But you got to pat somebody else's pockets.
Yeah. Yeah.
It goes around.
Yeah. So it should be totally illegal. Totally illegal. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand how it's one of those things that just got slipped by.
I don't understand who thought of it or who sits around. Is it real people? Is it just programs that just send this stuff to each other? I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. So, retired stockbroker, you're cracking me up today. I can't read some. I can't. He's cracking me up. Listen, the unsolicited Key Rock mug is welcome. You could have brought it and come here. Again, this is the office. I'm fine with people popping by the office unannounced. This is my office.
Yeah.
We're here on a public street. We cannot. If somebody wants to come in here and do business with us or has a question for 365 Sports and not wants to rent an apartment.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah. If they don't want to rent an apartment, then that's a little bit annoying because we've got a sign.
Yes.
But if they want to come in and see what we're about, I'm not going to, like, even though if we're not recording, I'm happy to answer your questions about who we are. I'm proud of who we are. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer it.
But if I'm at home, leave me alone.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah. But if, again, I cannot rent you. I've thought about it. I'm like, listen, you give me $500 up front, you can move in next week.
Right.
And just
get a cut real quick.
I'll be like, you guys want to go to the bar? Let's go. All like 5 of these people gave me $500 today. Cash. So dumb. But yeah, I absolutely, I will stop unsolicited email. Like, you won't have to sit through and go through emails and delete. Every email you get will be one that is either sent to you by someone you know or through a legit system.
So I have the Yahoo account that I've had forever, and then I created the Gmail, and I use that mostly for work. My Yahoo account is nothing but junk every day.
Okay.
Every day.
So there's a free app called Unroll Me that I use. It's unbelievable. I should cut this and send it to their social media.
There we go.
But Unroll Me is unbelievable. Unbelievable. You take all your email accounts, you put it in there, and then you go into the thing and it says keep, unsubscribe, delete, keep, unsubscribe, delete. So some of the stuff, there's some stuff that looks kind of spammy, but I have, signed up for it. So I do want it.
Right.
But it can take, if you want to, or roll it up, and then it'll just send it to you in one email.
Oh, that would,
So it takes it all, and you can just go through and go, okay, this is how it is. So it's great. I highly, 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 highly recommend it. And that's not even paid. That's not a paid thing at all. Unroll Me it saved me so much nonsense of.
That's all mine is. I'm telling you, it's nothing but junk that people have sold my information, and then they just keep sending it to me. Much nonsense.
Yeah, some of the things I get, I got some kind of thing about a new sports media association. Okay, great. Let me look into it. Like that, I understand. I'm on a database I probably opted into for that, for sure. But please, no more. Honestly, no one is sitting around their computer going, man, I am not well endowed. If only someone would come to me and say there's a pill to make my hog get bigger.
Yeah.
Please, please, please. Oh, dear God.
I'm waiting.
Oh, look. There's some that tells me I could be 14 inches. What do you know? Out of the blue. Yeah. Nobody's doing that. No. They're just trying to steal your information. They're just trying to steal things from you. So let's just make it illegal. So then, if you do get them and you report them, it's not reported to, say, Yahoo or Google. It's reported to the FCC.
Legitimate, yeah.
And they're like, okay, there we go.
Yeah.
All right, so now we have to look into this. But yeah, I fell for an internet scam. I've never fallen for an internet scam. I clicked on the wrong pop-up window a few months ago for something for my passport, and luckily I headed it off at the pass. But
you almost got got, huh?
Oh, I almost got got. I was real close to getting got. And it was just one of these one-stop shop things. And I was like, well, and Amanda was like, I don't know if that's, I'm like, no, it's all through FedEx. They'll do it. And then I went to FedEx and they're like, no, we do this part of it. And I was like,
That's the thing, is it's getting a little more creative.
Yeah. So, it was really well done. And then I tried calling the number and it was like, do-do-do-do-do. I was like, okay.
Gotcha.
Well, at least I only filled out part of that information. So, but yeah, it's, how many emails you get a month that are like, oh, I'm sorry that your information was in a data leak. We got to make all that better. No, I'm saying none of it's happening.
Illegal.
Robocalls should be illegal. And part of the reason robocalls aren't illegal is because politicians on both sides use them.
Yes.
Hello, this is John de blah, blah, and I would like you to support me for Senator of America. Blah, 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 blah. Dude, you think people are listening to it? Oh my God.
Or the stupid text message just hey, this is so-and-so.
Do you think somebody got one and oh my God, it's Ted Cruz. Ted. Oh, he's still talking. Hold on, guys. Ted. Like, no.
Just reminded me of.
Hold on. He's going to be done in a second. He's making his pitch.
Oh, no, that reminded me of It's a Wonderful Life.
I'm so excited. He just called me. Ted? No, he will not stop talking. Come on.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, no, that's not how it works. Today on The Big Show, we have Kyle Yeomans of DallasCowboys.com. And we have, he'll be later, Eric Galco, NFL Draft Scout, will join us. Joseph Duarte will join us. BJ Rains on Boise State. So we have got a bunch of stuff, plus the top 5. Oh, and Ricky Thompson at 4 o'clock on Baylor. Yeah. So, but we'll have all that coming up and should be exciting. Kyle Yeomans, you're also going to see a video right before he's on that he and DallasCowboys.com made of the new kickoff rule. It's very good. Did you watch it, Garrett?
Yeah, I watched it.
It's very good.
It was very
helps
informative.
Explain all of it. This is 365 Sports. We'll see you in an hour.